and Yom Kippur, everything's Mashiach. I mean, what can be better? There's no other better time to to promote and everything.
Absolutely.
This is it. Did you hear back from the shluchos? You sent the handbook to the shluchos, right? One of the shluchos. You sent the one with the flowers.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. Did you hear back from one of the shluchos? Did you send it to one of the shluchos? I think, right? No. We mentioned last time that we should get the shluchos going for the kinas shluchos. They should know already, that the handbook is available.
Remember? And Isaac, he's not on anymore.
Oh, he left. Oh.
I don't think he left. I think he got
in the tunnel.
He got disconnected. Yeah.
You see
Yaakov,
what happens?
welcome.
You start talking Pearl Mamish and they get cut off.
No, he's back. He's back.
Guys.
Good to see both of you, Yaakov.
Yaakov and Moshe. Yeah. Baruch Hashem. Working on a very Mashiach project. It's not exactly the Tutal's project, but Project Likutei Torah. It's really exciting. Betzalel Bassman is hiring me to essentially recruiting resources to make it possible to actually do the Rebbe's Hayra of finishing the Likutei Torah or every week. So sorry, every year by doing one daf a day plus a daf of Shir Shirim. So we're creating we have 2 podcasts running, and so feel free to join the podcast. It's a 30-minute podcast for the Shakla V'Tarya, so you can literally do a full daf of Likutei Torah in 15 minutes if you run at double speed. So pretty amazing. So it actually makes it possible to actually do the Rebbe's Hayra. So really amazing.
By the way, you have recordings also on Chabad.org.
It's already on Chabad.org?
You have Chabad.org. You have recordings. Likutei Torah, yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm saying, but I'm saying the fast podcasts. That's like our main thing. And then just curating all the resources.
So Yaakov, I think Shmuley says put the link here.
Oh, yeah. I will do that right now, actually. I'll put on the link with today's daf and all the information. Yeah.
Okay, so we have Reuven on. Reuven, what's happening with the memes? Everyone's waiting for the memes, Reuven.
I thought they're waiting for the shear. I was excited about the shear. They're excited.
Yeah, that's also.
Oh my God! I told Zusha. I understand why I didn't get to anybody. I told Zusha. I reached out to my fellow. Couldn't do it. I spoke to him. He was overloaded.
Oh, he couldn't do it.
I don't know. He looks like he hasn't been listening to his WhatsApps. I told him I told him the guy can't do it. I reached him. He was. He told me he can't do it. We have to find a different graphic designer to just put it together quickly.
Who can we reach out? So
I'll try him again today, but I think he was overwhelmed before Chanukah. He told me he can't do it. There's a lot of things happening now. Yeah. So we have to get a fast job, whatever it is, just to lay it out nicely, whoever can. But I don't know. I don't have another guy but him.
Can we, Mandy? Maybe we can shoot out another email, maybe either email or something on the WhatsApp. We're looking for someone that can finish this meme.
Okay. Does anybody on now have?
And you know what? Tell them we need it today. When we say you need it today, it's actually today. It's not like we're pushing it.
Yeah. Shmuel, you could type if you can't talk. Do you have a connection to someone who can make a meme?
I think it's just a simple graphic. What are we trying to make here?
Yeah.
Reuven, tell them what's ready, what's not ready.
I think they wanted just to lay this out nicely. I don't think he wanted no fancy memes. I think he wanted just to lay this out, to lay out the short little teachings
with a picture
and just in a nice format. That's all that it was.
Sounds like something I can do on Canva
send
very
out
quickly.
One at a time, so we should do one a day.
Can you send it to me, whatever it is?
And it should be put out one a day.
But I think we should get it with a picture. it's much nicer with a picture. Is that
Okay,
kind
and
of
then
that's complicated?
someone has to be creating a picture. Now it's interesting. I would have had my daughter, but she just flew to Eretz Yisrael, and she's very good. She does my video outside, but she just landed. She was in the last flight. I think they allowed in.
Ah.
They moved there.
Wow.
The next flight
So
being
I
Mashiach.
get it from her. And so I don't know who else I think can do this for me.
1 second. Shmuley is talking. Shmuley said he send it to him. Shmuley, could you do what they're speaking about?
I think so. If not, I can find someone to do it. Send it over.
Yeah, I don't know if you could hear Shmuley. It's not so loud, but he's saying send it over. He thinks he could do it today. Who could do the sending?
I mean, if I need to send it to Shmuley, I have what Zusha sent me. Zusha sent me like the things right after the thing. I sent it to Shmuley. I can send it to him if you Shmuley. I think I have your email, but WhatsApp it to me right now, and I'll send you the. It's like different teachings for everyday Chanukah. So we just have to. I'll just have to send it to you. The email. You can just machen.
Sent it over already. In what type of, do you have an example of what you wanted to look at would be the easiest thing
I
for
have
me to
no idea.
understand what
That's
you're
the
talking
thing. I
about.
didn't really get to this one.
It's the same
Let
type
me
of
send
meme
it to
that
you
have.
right now. You know what? Let me send it to you right now after we're talking. I'm gonna go walk for a second. Reinklicken da. You just sent
And
me
Isaac, what were you gonna say?
The one, any memes, if you look in the Chabad.org, they have very memes from previously that they sent out.
Who is this? Oh, yeah.
So you can get it. You can get
Like
an
a
idea.
daily dose?
Yeah, something like that. Remember, someone was posting looking for what's his name that sent out. No, that we were trying to get. Okay, we were trying to get to write the handbook. No, what's his name? Chabad.org. You know the famous writer, no?
Someone who's part of the Minatzchim?
Yeah.
We
got an issue. I forgot his name.
G. Freeman?
No,
Tzvi Freeman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tzvi Freeman. So Tzvi Freeman sent out these memes in the past. I don't know. It wasn't about Chanukah, about different things.
Right.
It was very nice. A nice picture with a couple of lines, with an idea. This is what we want to do. We want to do this during the year. It'll be great. At least to start it now, and eventually it'll be better, more professional, more nice. But just to get it started.
Look at this. You got the email. And you tossed me off. Showing. Look at this. Gefallen. Okay. Well, are we going to learn the Vart or what? What's going on?
Yeah. Go ahead. Who is supposed to?
These are longer than memes. These are full thoughts.
I know. These are full thoughts. That's the thing is. I think it's not a meme. It's not a meme at all.
Right. That's what I mean. It's
no.
More like,
you can have two liners, and then if you want to scroll down, you have the thing to look more further.
Okay.
That's what the daily dose does in Chabad.org with Tzvi Freeman.
Exactly. Take a two-liner or one-liner, and then whoever wants to look further can look further. But basically, you should get the idea.
You're basically taking a sentence out of it and putting it up.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not so simple because you can't forward. It's harder to forward pictures and text together.
Okay, whatever you can do. Listen. Just start it. Whatever happens, we'll make it nicer and better. But I think the main thing is it has to happen. Whatever you do will be good, and we'll start forwarding to people.
It's just as easy to make a graphic and attach the PDF or attach a link to the PDF, and people should get it and have it all. That way, if we
PDF,
but
but for
Shmuley,
WhatsApp sharing.
You now own it, so you do whatever you like.
All right,
We'll work
exactly.
with what you got.
Okay, you start the share.
Wir haben ewig gegeben Beiles zu dir.
Okay, go ahead. Who is giving the moving? You going?
Yeah.
Debating
If I should start the shir, if I should wait till the coffee finishes brewing. Okay, I'm gonna go start the shir. Says Gevena Mashiach. Understand? There's a minion by us that if there's one guy who gets the Amid, he loves schlepping the neshama ois until everybody names that literally going crazy. And then, whatever. And then I didn't want her to leave before the Rebbe Tam's film because I read a story of the Rebbe this, that. And when you're done, it didn't allow for the coffee. Okay? This is a very, very frustrating situation, but still, the Indian is super geschmack. Anyways, let's learn the Sikha. Okay, so I just want to say one little something regarding the Pashas Vayeshev Sikha. Let's start. Because there is the Indian that the Rebbe said once as the biggest oitzer that all the Jewish people have been waiting for is sitting right in front of you. This is what the Rebbe once said in the Sikha. The biggest oitzer that all the Yidden have been waiting for, is right in front of everyone. He says, and you're not looking at the oitzer. So when you have a sikha like Pashas Vayeshev, all the sikhas, there's what I think Rabbi Yehuda Leib HaKohen writes in his Hakdama. Either it's Rabbi Yehuda Leib HaKohen or it's the sons of the Alter Rebbe, including the Mitler Rebbe. When they write to be able to see mepnimius devarim, the pnimius of the words. So I know there's going to be all kinds of gewaldige philosophers who are going to give over the Sikha, Pashas Vayeshev, but I don't know many of them is the Pnimius Advarim. And there's one Nakuda, I believe, is Pnimius Advarim. If I can hear it.
That's the middle of the share.
If I can share the Pnimius Advarim, which I think is over here. But let's first start the Indian inside. The Rebbe says, Dubir Pa'amim Rabis Lachroina. We spoke many times recently, Befrat is Mana Achren. That this generation, everything converges. We're the last generation of Golus, we're the first generation of Geula. Everything is done. We're standing already prepared for the complete and total and true redemption. So we're ready. We're standing at Mamish at the Geula. That's what the Rebbe says. But you gotta pay attention to this. This is incredible. The Rebbe says, Yesha Shoyalim. So the Rebbe doesn't say he's asking. The Rebbe, this is not a question that's, many times the Rebbe starts off, and the Rebbe asks a Shoyalim. Here the Rebbe doesn't ask. It's not the Rebbe's question. Yesha Shoyalim, there are those that are asking. The Geula is dependent on all the Yidden being prepared for this. In other words, the Geula is global. The Geula is universal. It's not something that's going to happen, for a couple of people in Muncie, or a few Crown Heitzers. There's the ganze Welt. It's all of humanity. First of all, you got to get all the Jewish people from the entire world. That itself is global. And for that, you need some cooperation from the people from the whole world. In addition to that, this is very important, it also requires a refinement of all the ummahs and all the nations. So, and I think one is dependent on the other, because you can't take the Yidden out until you finish the Birur. Why are we there in the first place? To do a Birur. So only after we finished our work across the entire world is the time to take everybody back home. So the Rebbe is then asking the question, again, it's not the Rebbe's question. The Rebbe is either reading the minds or people actually, said this to the Rebbe, whatever it is. Where do we see? They're asking Shinui ba'olam, such a change in the world, that the generation and the people are fitting and ready now for the Geula more than the early generations. Okay, this is the Shaila. So what's the opening Shaila? The Geula is dependent on fixing all the nations, on a purification of the entire world, the global purification. Where do we see today that the world is ready for this? And then the Rebbe goes on and gives one teretz, but the teretz has two phases to it. And I'm sure, or maybe I'm not sure, but I hope, I believe that most of the Chevra over here looked at the Sikha at least, or glanced at the Sikha. And I'll give you one brief, quickly something of the first answer and the second answer, which is really one answer, but the Rebbe puts it as one answer, but it's one b'toich the other. Answer one, the Rebbe explains, is that in the early days, Yidden all were hovering around Eretz Yisrael. Everybody was, in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, for sure Yidden lived in Eretz Yisrael. But even in the early days of Golos, Yidden, even though there was an exile, but Yidden were kind of closer to the nucleus to Eretz Yisrael. People were in the Middle East. Whatever, they were in Bavel, they were in the various different areas of the Middle East. Mitzrayim, Alexandria, Herahin, that's where Jews were. They didn't go too far. And then later on, they started venturing out. Like the Rebbe mentions in the Sikha later, they even mentioned all the way to Tzarfas. So they moved out. But still, relatively, it wasn't global. There was a certain center of the world, like the stomach. At the center of the world, everybody was centered around the middle. The Rebbe says in the last couple of years, we see an amazing thing that Yidden literally migrated across the entire world.
Yeah.
And there's Yidden everywhere.
I brought in 5 boxes of Chanukah candles.
That's amazing.
The Rebbe says now there's Yidden everywhere. That's a chiddush. The Rebbe says, and does Gufa that Yidden are everywhere is a simon that we're fixing the whole world. There's not a place where Yidden are not. That's the Rebbe's first answer. Then the Rebbe continues, and the Rebbe says this, that the whole world today is already completed because Yidden arrived everywhere. Makayim Torah mitzvahs in every single place. And he goes through a whole long arichas and the idea of Ozla Lakarte Halach Benamusay, that in order to really impact a place, you have to like fix it from the inside, and that's only if you can integrate various different cultural elements according to whatever is mutar al pitoida into the style of being a Yid. I'm not getting into that. And the Rebbe says, but in order to see this all, it all culminates in France. The Rebbe says that the entire modern world today is very deeply impacted by France, and France represents the last frontier, the last klippa that was such an impenetratable klippa that you couldn't break into until recently. And after they kach, that even the Alter Rebbe shied away from France, was running away from France. And the earlier Rabbeim, says in different places, didn't even want to look at their language, didn't even want to look at the oisios of the French. Such a klippa, the Rebbe explains how the French Revolution was the source of a rebellion against the Eibishter. Unlike the American Revolution, the Rebbe says, which was based on a belief in the Eibishter, the French were opposite. And therefore, the French was like the biggest klippa. And the Rebbe says, take a look, that since the days of the Rebbe Marash, 4th generation Chabad, and then particularly the Frierdiker Rebbe's Koiches, and then the continuation with the Rebbe, we've completely transformed France, and therefore the Rebbe says France is the same word as Tzarfas. Tzarfas is Meloshen Tziruf, is Asimen al heintige Zeiten mit Ibigkeit the ganze Welt, because once you're done with France, you're done with the entire world. And the Rebbe then explains how, in order to transform such a klippa, you can't do it through light. Oir doesn't do it. Only the Giluya Etzem can reach such a klippa. And what's the Etzem? The Rebbe says the Etzem is 770. That's why Tzarfas Gematria is 770. Okay, you take a look at the Sikha. You just take 2 steps backwards. The Rebbe is saying that basically, 770, we finished. This is the epicenter of everything. And the real koyach of the Rebbe and of all the Rabbeim and so on and so forth shows itself in France. And here's the etzem of 770, which is the etzem of the Rabbeim and the etzem of the Eibishter that's revealed in this world, which is Mashiach. That's what the Rebbe says. That's the teichen of the whole sikh. And I know I'm supposed to teach a little bit from the beginning, but I'd rather share with you this one that could. Let me take you to a medrash.
That's a question, Ruben. Hold on. So the Giloy Etzem we didn't have till we got to 770. Is that what we're saying?
Yes. Till that point was all Giluyim, was all Oiros. But
I thought it was progressing. Well, the Rabbeim had. I heard a part also.
The Rabbeim are the beginning of the Giluya Etzem, but the Shleimus of Giluya Etzem is as Gala and Malchus. The Rebbe is the 7th. Malchus. Right. Malchus is Etzem.
Because if you think of it,
that's right. Think about it. By the Rebbe, the Gans the Rebbe's title is Atzmos. You look at every single title of the Rebbe.
Everything's talking about Atzmos. Because Paratza was always someone brought out a very good point. Paratza was always 770.
What?
Paratza was always Gematria 770. Even before
it was always Gematria that. But
I'm saying.
But when did it come out? Right. It came out then. Okay, that's the Nakud. I want to share with you a medrash over here. If you give me a moment. The medrash is in Shir Hashirim on the pasuk Koil Doidi Doifik. Medrash Shir Hashirim. Listen to this. The medrash says like this. Who is the Koil Doidi Doifik? I have it right over here. Oh, hold on. Give me just 1 second. Why did I lose it over here? Oh. Reb Chunya b'Shem Reb Eliezer ben Yaakov Oim. Koil Doidi Hinei Zeba. Who's Koil Doidi Hinei Zeba? Zamelech HaMashiach. B'Shashu Oimel Yisrael b'Chodesh Azeh Atem Nigolim. When Mashiach comes and tells Yidden, Chavre, time of the Geula has arrived. B'Chodesh Azeh Atem Nigolim. The Medrash says it's not going to come easy. because the people are going to challenge Mashiach. Oimrim loy, they will say to him, Eich anu nigolim, how are we redeemed? V'loy kvar nishba HaKadosh Baruch Hu shehu mishabdeinu ba'ayin umois. The Eibishter made an oath that he's going to be mishabed us in all the 70 nations, and we have not been around the block. We have not been everywhere. That's the question that the Yidden are going to say to Melech HaMashiach. That's what the Medrash says. V'hu meshivan, and he answers them shtei tshuvas, 2 answers. V'oimer lam, and he says to them, Echad mikem goy lebarbavia, ve'echad mikem goy lesamtaria, doim kamoishe galisi kulchem. By one of you going here and one of you going there, it's as if you got everywhere. Tshuva number 1. Tshuva number 2. V'lo yoid, elasha malchus azois, this malchus, which is Edom, machteves turunayo mekol olam mekol umayoma. They basically influence everyone. This one nation, they influence everyone because they machteves turinaya, as the Mefarshim explain what it means. Machteves turinaya. They take taxes. They influence everyone. It's one nation that's representing all the nations, and therefore, by being meshubet to this nation, it's as if you did the bidder but everywhere. As if you completed, you were meshubet by everyone. This is the story. There's the ganze Medrash. So I think, and I didn't come up with this, but this is there's a Sefer Yonesh al Mashiach. He writes it in the back. When I read this, I went crazy. He said, if you take a look at the Pashas Vayeshev Sicha, you see mamish this discussion. The Rebbe opens up the Sicha. We're already, the Rebbe's finished in the last couple of weeks telling us, Chevre, we're already at the Giyul. If you look at the earlier Sicha, see, we can't just learn Vayeshev. There's Pashas Vayishlach, there's Pashas Vayetze. And all these weeks, the Rebbe said, Chevre, Mezitshem Badatish. We're sitting already with Melech HaMashiach. We're sitting already with the Shayra Boyd and the Levios. So now the Rebbe says, Yeshno Mashayalim. So after all of this, the Rebbe says, Yeshno Mashayalim. There are those who are asking, where do we see the whole world is ready? And the Rebbe says it's Toloi Bebiru Ra'olam. Now, if you go back to the Medrash says, we are V'anishba HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem made an oath that he's not going to take us out of ghosts until we enslave to everybody. But Pashtas, why do we have to be enslaved to everybody? If it's just a meaning of punishment, it's time to be enslaved by everybody. Everybody has to beat us up. But I'll be pnimius in Yonim, we understand. It's not to get beaten by everybody. The whole golos is, like the Rebbe explains, only to make Gadim. In other words, to elevate the Mitzvah Kedusha, to make the entire world Eretz Yisrael, to bring the whole world and make the whole world godly. So that's why we have to be everywhere. So that people are asking, the Rebbe says, that's the question. We haven't been at the Chura, we have to be Mavada the whole world. Where do we see it? And what's the Rebbe's first answer? The first answer is, recently we've gotten everywhere. And not some that we've gotten anywhere. Who sent us everywhere? Who? Mashiach tells the people, Echot mikem goy le'lebarbav, the Echot mikem l'smatad. And according to what we have over here, it's not only that Mashiach tells them that, but the Rebbe is the one who sent us there. He sent every corner of the world. They should have, Afson says from Hong Kong, he says, my kids are made in Hong Kong. And that's a Holich bin Musay. We have children in each place, and the children become like that country, and we integrate all the inyanim. The shluchim, we have a whole UN, the ganze Welt. So that's the first answer. Then what is the second answer? It says Mashiach will tell the people. What will he tell them? He'll tell them there is this one country that is collecting taxes from the whole world, and if you're meshubit to them, look at this. Kuti echod, barbavi echod bo u'mishabed b'chem kegon sheshibadatem became kolu umois. I had this one nation. It's as if you've done all the nations. Ikeilu nishtabdu ba'ayin umois. That's the Medrash. And as if you become nishtabed ba'ayin umois. What does the Rebbe continue in the Sikh? There is this one klippa called France, which they influence. The Rebbe says the entire world. Here's the words of the man. Here's the words in the Sikh. You hear these words. The Rebbe says that hold on. He uses mamish very powerful words over there. The Rebbe says the whole modern world today is very shmavatas. Where is it over here? Oh, here is it. Oh, the Rebbe says, "Kedivri b'divrei hayamim shemapecha tzarfatit b'shnas tovkuf memtes." Or it's a gamma pecha ideologic, was an ideological pecha. Indian klali shehevi imo shinu ikroi ba'olam kuloi. V'hu hoysam ayros ikrim shaleim hushtatu yisoides ha'anaga shelo olam ha'madarni v'hatarbus ad hayom hazeh. And therefore, the Rebbe says, when you're fixing this, you've done it siruf and all the Zion ummahs. And that's why he says Tarfas Gematria is 770, because 770 represents all the 70 ummahs. It's Alice, the whole thing lifted up together. I find this fascinating, the parallel between this medrash and this entire sikha. I think it's more than just a nice discussion and a nice thing. There's something over here that had happened 30 years ago, which we should pay attention. One more nakuda, if I may, to share with you that I find is really fascinating, is at the end of the Sikha, the Rebbe is talking about the idea of how you see that France has been transformed. You see how the song, the national anthem of France, what is it called? The RCA? What do they call it? Was converted, and it became a Chassidish Niggun. Ad kedei kach that the president of France, a few months in Tafshin Lamed Dalet, in 1974, or maybe it was still in 1973, not exactly sure, but the French leader asked that they should change the tempo of the song. And the Rebbe says, why? That's because the Malach above was margish that we already took this niggun and made it a Chassidish niggun, which means we transformed the soul of France. And therefore they changed the song. That's what the Rebbe says. But the Rebbe asks a question, why are we talking about that by a Fabrengen? He says, a chassid was nischanach. He doesn't know what's looking in the world, talking about a French national anthem, and I seem like a chef. Ich weiß chassidis, ich weiß. Why are you talking to me over your current world events? The Rebbe says, why are we talking about it? The Rebbe says, number one, here's the Rebbe's two answers. It's Kavaldi. Number one, the Rebbe says, what? It's Chanukah season. So it's the season of Pesumei Nisa. This was the Shabbos before Chanukah. It's the season of Pesumei Nisa. This is a nace. This is a tremendous nace. The second thing that Rebbe says, it does noigeya to be a Mashiach mamish. It's noigeya to be a Mashiach mamish that we should relate this miracle. Why? Because Bikesh HaKadosh Baruch Hu lasis Chizkiyahu Mashiach. Hashem wanted to make Chizkiyahu Mashiach, but there was a technical problem that didn't allow Chizkiyahu to be Mashiach because he didn't sing Shira. So therefore, now the Rebbe says, in order to avoid that, we are going to sing Shira. And therefore, we're going to tell the Nisim. Comes out, I hap myself as I'm learning the Sikha this time, that this Niggun, Parshas Vayeshev, is the Rebbe singing Shira on all the biggest Nisim. And what's the biggest Nes? This is the Shira. This is the Shira that we need to sing. And when do you sing Shira? You sing Shira on the Nes. And here's the question. Every Nes, what's Nes? Nes is when some Gili Alakus happens in a certain Nakuda in the world, there's a Gili Alakus. What bigger nace is when the entire Klippa was Nesapach. Gili Alakus, there's nothing left anymore. Even France, even the lowest Shabalo, that no Gili Or can impact it. No revelation can affect it. Only Atzmus Mamish. And Atzmus Mamish is already changing, is being this gala that even France can become such a makam of Torah and a place of source of godliness in the world. So the Rebbe says, this is the Shira. So whoever, with Getrachtwingen them, that the Rebbe is seeing, this is the Shira, and the Rebbe is taking away the problem. It shouldn't be a problem that they can't be Chizkiyahu Melech HaMashiach. And the Rebbe therefore says, what's the Haira? That we all have to, Haira, that we need to talk about the miracles that are happening by Yom HaMehim B'Zman Hazeh. Like we do so much on this chat. So much of the time we point out things that are happening in the world. This is the Avodah. This brings the Geula. It's important that we keep on pointing these in Yanam out, because part of the Geula coming is that we shouldn't chas v'shalom be guilty and not recognizing the miracles of the Geula and not speaking it. That's just my two thoughts on the Sikha.
So what's an example?
What?
Give us an example. Make it real.
Of the Shinuyim in the Welt? Yeah,
something
that caught my attention recently.
Yeah.
The biggest example is Ala Minatzchim on the chat. That's the biggest Minatzchim. The biggest Minatzchim is Tut Alts. The biggest example is Tut Alts. As even like we would say by us, where there seems to be so much difficulty and resistance to the Inyanim, now it's blasting through. That is
Look at the
incredible.
Abraham Accords. Hold on, the Abraham Accords. Look what's happening now in the Middle East.
Yeah, that's part of it. But this, it's, I have to say, it's a bit shredded in the last year. Till 2 years ago, the things were rolling like crazy. The last year with the guy, there's a bit
continuing. Ruben, what are you talking about? It's continuing.
Yeah. There's a lot of clip out there. But okay, the neighbors will help him. I think it's just imploding on itself. The other side is imploding on itself. Right. You reveal all of it, check it, and so. But yeah, okay. But Zikr, a little bit looking into every Inyan we see in the world, we see Mashiach. What was recently? I had this exciting thought, just recently, a very exciting thought. Oh, the shortage in the labor. There's no workers. No one wants to work. What's that? No one wants to work for a few dollars. People want hashiras. People want wealth. They're not willing to make peace with the fact as that you're going to give them bupkis. That's a Mashiach Inyan. Even though are they conscious of it? No. But the Nakud over here is that the people are hoping and waiting for a time. They don't want to go to work because what's the pneumias? Because the Rambam says no one is going to work when Mashiach comes. I was thinking that an interesting idea. How important it is for us to think about it. How important it is for us to actually take a super megaphone and go out and actually speak up and stop hiding and talk about Mashiach to everybody. Why? Because if you take these two phenomena together, let's take two phenomena. Defund the police together with no one wanting to work. So you have millions of people not working with no police. That is a recipe for disaster, Shabbat disaster. Yet, unless what? We reveal the inner content. When Mashiach will come, we won't need police. Shiva Sheftayach, the Rebbe's talk on that there'll be shoiftim, there'll be eitzah givers, like the Mama's talking about. They're talking about social workers instead of police, and no one is going to work like a slave. People are going to. If we as Lubavitchers would have, and we have the voice, the Rebbe says we can speak that the whole world can hear. If we can get the word out to everybody, what the Tyson Panini of all of this is, then it's not dangerous. It's only Zanka police, and so Canaan is arbeiten. And everybody should know that it's the calling of the Eibishter. But if Chas v'Shalom, we don't bring the message, and the world continues to move into Mashiach territory, but without the inner pneumias, we're in trouble. So you realize it's so dependent on us being the communicators of what the Rebbe told us to the entire world. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Quantum computers are starting to move in the right direction.
Yeah.
They're saying that, things that can be resolved and things, it's unbelievable. And it says also not only that, it's basically, it's matzav any matzav. It's basically, it gives a marshal on Chassidus.
Yeah,
exactly.
Of the and no at the same time, and of nimtza, built-in nimtza.
Unbelievable. It's mamash happening, the gospel.
So true.
What about all the checks that are flying into Meistus from the government?
No, how do we tell us how to get it all now?
No, I'm saying I just got to check this morning. The ERTC, some earned retention, something that the Barfen sich mit Geld, the government it's unbelievable. It's a real thing. Supporting Chabad houses all over the country.
That's true.
If you have a payroll and you have to pay people, you get a tax credit for paying.
So that's mamish. Yeah, this is mamish that.
I was just even a practical thing. I know this happens all over Shluchim, but the fact that last night we had a menorah lighting, and every single politician that possibly could come wants to be there, and the chief of police of Camarillo requests can I invite my boss, the sheriff of the county, can he also come? Like, he needs permission. He's asking me permission if he can invite the head of the whole sheriff of Ventura County needs to come.
Did you hear how Governor Noam, whatever her name is, from South Dakota spoke about the shliach, and she said that this year everybody is going to be in that room.
Yes.
Everybody has to come because the rabbi has so much to share and teach us. Imagine that, something like that. Another exact notion.
The mayor was basically was almost crying when she was speaking at last night. The mayor in Camarillo, she was like emotional, you know. And I gave her to light the shamish, and
reform is stealing the nerves. Reform is.
She's climbing up on the ladder to light the menorah, and she's like an elderly person, and she's like, you know, like it's like I say, can you give your greetings? No, Rabbi, I'm not giving you greetings. I have more than a greetings to say. It's like I don't want to just give a greetings. I wanna. She had a paper azay lying when the Greek gods tried to fight against the Jewish people. I don't know what she was saying. I don't know if she knew what she was saying, but it was like. They're so inspired to be able to be there. The assembly woman from Sacramento was there, and this and that. It's like a line of politicians stand. I mean, it's like they see it an honor to be present with you. It's very, we take it for granted in shluchim.
Exactly.
It's. I was trying to say, I brought up a lady from Russia that was crying. I said, imagine this lady in Russia. You know, 70, 80 years ago, she's like an elderly woman, having all the officials coming to Menorah. It's just people don't realize it. These are big. That sicha v'yeshiv ever talked. You know, it's like these are all miracles that goes on. Let's take it for granted.
So my neighbors, they were former neighbors, Christians. They're lighting the menorah last night, and they want to know what bracha to make. And I want to show you the sicha here. I tried to put it up before when Reuven was giving a beautiful sicha over. Can you see the screen?
That's it.
That's it.
That's in the Kiddush, no? You told us close.
Yites Kislev.
By the way, is everyone calling the shluchim that's from Mendel Item?
Oh.
Is everyone doing that?
We got to get on that.
You have to get on that, please. Mendel Chaitin from the Mashiach office sent out individual emails for regions for people to call and contact shluchim to get them going with local.
Is it possible to ask to get shluchim that are people who know me that I can speak to? Is it give me shluchim in Michigan?
Oh, he gave us shluchim in Michigan. Oi.
Maybe you can send, Isaac, can you send out the list of who's in what region?
Okay, sorry.
I'm willing to call, but I need to call shluchim that know me here in California, people that I know. I'm to call a face where hello. Okay, that's fine.
Okay,
you send by region. You split it up by where you would be comfortable calling.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Shmuley, you're the tech guy, and your microphone is not clear.
I don't know what's going on. I got a new phone. But just Rabbi Wolf, I was looking up on Wikipedia about the French national anthem. I found it fascinating. That the French national anthem stopped being, they stopped using it in 1799, which is right after Yitzhak Kislev, and they started using it again in 1871, at the end of the life of the Rebbe.
With a shinoi, with a change.
There was a shinoi, something like we changed the.
Yeah.
It wasn't able to be conquered until that point, and that's when it started getting back in. And then on the Wikipedia page, of course, it says that the 1973, the Lubavitcher Rebbe took it for a niggin. It's on Wikipedia. So it's an interesting thought process. They said by the Farbrengen that the two brothers, Davitab, said that what was a shinoi by France was that in 1941, the Friedrich Rebbe moved into 770. That we make the changes. We're the actors and all these things. He talked about Shalosh Tibas Atzmeis. That is, it's Shalosh Tibas Atzmeis, and therefore we don't do it, or we don't do it, and therefore it's Shalosh Tibas Atzmeis. I don't know if anybody was on the Farbrengen. It was pretty unique of a Farbrengen.
Oh, by the way, Yaakov, didn't you get the email, Yaakov? A reason to call?
Did I get a list to call? I didn't see a list to call.
Sorry?
I didn't see a list to call, but I'll check. Let's check.
Let's check. It's supposed to be from the shluch from the Mashiach office from Mendel Chaitan.
Okay, I'll check.
Okay.
You're concerned that your baby was late. You know what's going on.
Okay, anyone here would like to take a region to call? Does anyone have time to make the time? Are you up to it, or who else? The label. You have to be an official shliach.
Sorry, no, I don't qualify.
Can I give you a different job instead?
Yeah, give him a job.
Could you write a one-liner for each of the days and send it over? Or to just take a one-liner from each of the Mashiach days?
You're going to be a little bit more specific. What kind of one-liner do you need?
The Chanukah days that you wrote, I want to have a one-liner that goes in the picture that grabs someone's attention that they're going to read the rest of it. No pressure at all.
I'll try and put something together.
I have faith in you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Also, if nobody showed the Balabat in the video on Chabad.org, I would have Label's grandson. Incredible, and bring the tissues.
Which one?
Rostov. So they made a movie of their journey from Pasadena to Rostov.
Pasadena. Who?
Danziger was originally in Pasadena.
Oh.
Danziger's, and you also have Ellie's video. Is on Chabad.org now. It's featured this past week.
So they have a son they basically said wouldn't live till sunset, and Ellie has a son, Ellie Estrin. And Baruch Hashem, the Eibusher runs the world, not the doctors.
Wow. Big miracle. No, this is like another story, I should say, talk about. Wow. This is related to you?
My grandson.
Oh, it's your grandson, okay. Wow. Amazing. Okay, what else? So Shmuel, you making your phone calls to make sure people making their phone calls.
I open it
today. Which region did you get? Did you get California? Maybe switch with Reuven.
He gave me region 10. I don't know what it is because I didn't open it yet.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's California. Switch it with Reuven.
I have a question about the Sikha and Vayeshev. The Rebbe seems to say they were supposed to have it for bringing like every single night of Hanukkah, right? I just don't really understand that. I mean, I guess it's just so hard. Like, how is it possible? You're doing all these Chanukah pulas, everyone's running around, Messiah, everything, and then also to schedule, and it's just, you don't see it happening in the Lubavitch. So people, like, you don't see it like you do like on Sukkot, and like, you don't see Chanukah as like an inyan to like sit in for braying.
Never has it been easier to do it though.
They're and they come to Levi Yitzchak Shul, is for bringing every night.
Also around here, we have different shluchim that each do like a different night lighting. So it's easy to technically just like go around and be part of different shluchim.
Just saying, being at a menorah, public menorah lighting is like shtickle, like for bringing.
If you make it into one,
yeah,
for bringing with people there. No, I mean with time for bringing.
That's a tagline. If you use our Mashiach lines, you turn your lighting into Fabrengen. That's why you need to use it. Okay, good. I have my mean.